Basically, if your newspaper doesn't have like a crossword or Sudoku, it's a fucking waste of paper.
It also reminds me of what Anthem could have been without the jetpacks. If Iowa had actually handled it correctly.
We don't talk about the past.
And I'm good with dark humor and light humor. I don't care what color you are. I'm good with.
I've been playing a game called Power Org, which is that game that's basically Pokemon with guns, and personally, I think it's better than Pokemon.
Okay, what's the third one? On the 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the Schoner Podcast. That was the most blunt way to get into an episode, but I said nah. I'll just get right into it. Obviously, Funker, Joseph, and Charles, and me, Jordan. If you didn't already know, we're here. What's up?
Well, I'm definitely not up because of Blue Chew. That's for sure.
Oh man, good to see an episode just come on back. Actually, I will say that was a good. Okay, our episodes have always been good, but that was a good episode just because of the fact that it did well on YouTube. It got a 4 out of 10. That's fantastic. Anything below a 6 or anything above a 6 is bad. Anything below that is like, we actually did a pretty damn good job. So I'm gonna start sharing those stats a little bit more with the fam, just so everyone knows. But yeah, that's why I put it in our Discord, because I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous. I just feel like I'm fucking something up every chance I get. So I'm gonna
You are in a new environment. Your setting has changed, and so you've sort of switched out of your comfort zone. So why don't we take a minute or two? Why don't you tell us about where the fuck you are and what the fuck you're doing?
I'm in Canada. No. So we talked about this on the podcast previously, and I was talking about moving, because I needed to move out of a different place, not because I have all this money and I want to flaunt it around. No, for one, our place is fucking small. It's a nice house, but it's small. 2, I don't like threats and police officers at my door every other month. So, you know what? We decided to move locations and take our companies to a different site, different address. So even though, yes, it's not going to help anything with being on the internet, but at least it keeps our home life and our work life separate. So I'm currently in a new office. It's a room, to be honest. It's an office, but it's a house. It's an office house, and I fucking love it. I got all this space for audio listeners. I'm so sorry. I got all this space. But no, it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm in a new environment. My desk is in the middle of the floor, so I can have it stand up and do all this fun stuff. And I've had no time to decorate. I finally got into this place. It was supposed to be the first, wasn't the first. It was the 15th. Got into it, got busy. Boo-hoo for me, right? But no, so that's where I am. I am actually being kidnapped right now. I am currently in Mexico. Please send help. I would have took a photo of a newspaper, but apparently I can't afford that in Mexico. I'm poor. So
Newspaper. Okay, boomer.
What? You can still buy newspaper, I think. I don't know. Yes, you can. You don't buy them, but they're free. My post office has a newspaper still.
I mean, my mother-in-law, she still reads the paper, but she gets like a community newspaper because it's in Chinese, and so it's a little harder to get like other language media. So a lot of immigrants who come here, they congregate, they form their own communities, and then a newspaper will form as a result of it. Basically, if your newspaper doesn't have like a crossword or Sudoku, it's a fucking waste of paper.
See, I only cared about the comics and the cars for sale. And I know it sounds weird, but as a kid, I would just look at the cars being like, I would buy that. If I had money, I would buy that one. It'll be some shitty fucking Honda Civic that's missing a half of its body. And I'll be like, if I had to choose one car in the newspaper, I would choose that one because it was a midnight club. And it's like, no one cares. No one fucking cares.
Yeah, when we were kids, we all did that. Like, you see that cool ass sports car, and you're like, yeah, if I had 10 grand, I'd buy that car. Blah blah blah.
Yep. And then you grow up and you're like, If I had 10 grand, I would pay off my debt.
Yeah,
That would be fucking
exactly.
great. I don't care about a fucking car.
I was visiting my parents over the weekend, and for the last few years, when my parents asked me, Joseph, do you need money? Really tried not to like come across as like begging or anything like that, but several switches flipped over the course of the past couple of weeks. So this time my mom was like, Joseph, do you need any money? I never not need money. I need money. I need money for bills. I need money to invest in gear. I need money to go out and go for jet. I need money to eat. I need money to sleep. I need money to breathe.
Yeah.
I'm not affording that car. Or the classifieds at the back of the paper. Can't afford them either. That's
Okay, I'm not gonna sidetrack us too much. But I just real quick want to put out misconnections on Craigslist. Can that be an episode?
Oh my God, how have we not done any Craigslist content thus far? Good Lord, yeah, no, we're doing misconnections.
Oh, I found this out recently. I was like, wait, there's a thing called misconnections, and it's people that saw somebody like fucking sucking their toes on a subway train, and they're like, I want to get to know
Do you
that
have the
person.
link?
They're like,
I didn't even know Craigslist was still a thing.
dude, you would think after this time, like, Wish would have helped them out or something. No, they still use the same fucking Adobe Premiere website that looks like dog shit. And
Oh
they're
my
just
God,
like,
Dreamweaver.
professional.
It would have to have been built by Dreamweaver. That was the Adobe web building software.
oh, Jesus Christ. I'm too
Dreamweaver.
young to know that, but just knowing how shitty it is, God damn.
Dreamweaver could do better.
But no, I want to make some Craigslist content. Like, it doesn't have to be like a whole episode, but we need to go into like, you know, the misconnection files of like Craigslist, or like funny things that are like for sale on Craigslist. It would be a great theme for the episode. It would be great clips. It would be fantastic. I would love to see it.
I'm down for it, but one thing,
What?
I have to see the Craigslist dating section.
You know what? That is fair. Why?
Because back in the day, that stuff was terrifying.
Wait, so what would be on it? Just quickly, what would be on it?
Well, back then it was like people, like just weird people making fake profiles to like say stuff like, hey, I'm really into cats, blah blah blah. It was like dude dressed up as a cat, and then he had a cat on his backside. Or it was some girl was like, hey, I'm looking for 20 guys to gangbang me. Things like that, just all kinds of things. Only serious, requires only kind of stuff. Like, it's all definitely out there.
What I learned is that all of the dating ads in Toronto, without exception, were all just sex workers. We're all just looking for different routes to try to attract clientele. Because if a guy is just looking for like a more like serious, like sustained relationship, then some sex workers would offer the more like sustained relationship package. So it was all just about trying to. It was all just business.
I think that's
Mm,
probably most
Canada.
majority ones here. Like, I think it would be more of they're either bots, somebody pretending to be someone like in the photos or something like that. But yeah, I've never really been much of a dating app kind of guy.
I didn't get a chance to. Once I turned 18, I got suckered with Brittany, and now I can't get out. I've been trying. It hasn't worked.
Sideways.
I had some luck with
Sevens.
OkCupid. I actually liked OkCupid because there was a lot of effort you had to put into answering a lot of questions. It was like 20 questions, 30 questions, and that was how your matches were made. So you would see people who scored more similarly to you, and you would have things to at least say when sending out a message. So yeah, shout out OkCupid.
Bet.
Yep.
Now, before we get too much further into this episode, I just want to talk about what our actual theme is going to be today, and we'll dive into some other things. But I want to real fast bring up our
Dive.
themes. What?
Dive. Sorry.
Dive.
So we are so we're doing Two Truths, One Lie. If you haven't understood by the thumbnail title, whatever, we're doing Two Truths, One Lie. Later on in this episode, there will be timestamps down in the description if you want to see that, or just listen on through. We'd love if you do it. Anyways, we're gonna go over a new game that's out. pretty fucking fantastic according to some people. I don't know, because I'm turning into a boomer now. And then we're going to dive into a platform that I have been learning to hate and love at the same time. So I just want to make sure those are aware while we got you guys hooked onto the episode. Like, let you know what actually to expect, and a bunch of dick comments more than likely. Okay. I think we got hey.
Should have got Blue Chew, bro.
Damn it.
Could have got bigger. Could have gone longer.
I should call her. Speaking of things that should have definitely gotten longer, Joseph's time on TikTok. How's
How's
that been going?
So I'm something very unusual has happened. I haven't had to deal with this before, so I wanted to turn it to the council to see what what is going on and if I'm just like self-gaslighting. So y'all have probably at least heard of Law and Order. It's a TV series that crops up in different parts of America. Well, they've decided to do one here, Law and Order Toronto, and obviously TikTok was a great place for this to be advertised. And I wrote as a joke, okay, so they're going after Toronto crimes. Are they going to do an episode on rent prices? Haha, good joke. Everybody laugh. Now, that comment did quite well. So I'm just going to scroll through real quick, but just to describe it to the audio fans out there, sorry about that lighting. So I'm getting some pretty good activity on that. That thumbnail you see of the city skyline, that's all like people responding to my comment, people liking it. They're coming in bulk. There's like 20 likes here, 12 likes there. So, this doesn't make or break my career or anything, but like I'm getting some activity off of it. And as someone who's trying to promote myself on TikTok, especially as a comedian, being able to interact with these people and try to like build some momentum off of them would be really helpful, so that people would be more inclined to check out my profile, see my comedy videos. But I swear to God, can you guys imagine what would happen if I try to watch the video right now and it's perfectly fucking fine? Fucking gaslighting TikTok commie bastards.
Okay,
nope. So I try to watch the video and it says the video is unavailable. But here's the thing though. That video is super available because people are still commenting on it and they're still putting likes on it. So I have been specifically deliberately shadow banned from going back to that video and doing any of this continued engagement. Now, related story, but I make some sound effects. And I post my sound effects on freesound.org under Joe Dozer. It just says like, hey, I just like making sound effects from time to time. And so download them for free. It's just my way of feeling like I'm doing something nice for other people. Laura knows I don't do enough of fucking that. And someone writes a comment about one of mine. It says, it doesn't sound like someone's walking on a carpet. It sounds like someone's beating you with a soggy baguette. And I was not in a good mood that morning, so I just straight up like deleted that comment and been contacted the Freesound to see if I can block the user, because like of all of the fucking like you're just trying to put out free useful utility, and someone doesn't understand how to separate footsteps. This is the way his mom separated her legs. So I understand what it's like to be kind of ticked off at snarky comments online. I get it. I'm guilty of it, but I also don't have a budget of millions of dollars to produce a TV show. So there's a little bit of an imbalance here. So what y'all could do if you wanted to is like go to my TikTok, see if you can find my comment on like a comment history or something like that, and see if you can get to that video. Because like I've never dealt with something like this before, and it sucks. Because like, well, that comment was a W, and now I'm being punished for it. So it was a real crime.
Well, we'll definitely have to probably pin your link to that video in the comments.
I'm not even gonna lie. I've been looking for it because I just want to. Because here's the thing: is TikTok sometimes weird where if you log out and you're not a user, it shows you videos. But for you, it might look like you got shadow banned or just flat. It looks like you got fucking banned. It not even look like you got shadow banned. It looks like you just got your ass banned. So I've been looking at it. Been trying to look for it. So far, I'm having a minute trying to find it. But I've also only took a minute to find it. But I will say this right now because I've told the story in the past. Behavior banned me from Twitter. it was during Halloween time about 2 years ago. I ended up giving them over almost 1 million views on a video promoting that it was free for the weekend, and 50 to 80% of that video was the fans being like, it's not free on this platform and this platform and this platform, like you said, it was in your video. And I'm like, there's nothing I could do about it. So when I reached out to Behavior, I was like, hey, this is what's going on. Fans aren't happy. What gives? And then I got my ass blocked. And I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. So, and then I was like, okay, cool. But then eventually they unbanned me, unblocked me. And I was like, okay, cool. Okay. Now the fuss is over. Now you unbanned me. But in that same boat, that's when I kind of went, Dippadale, ooh. Because I'm like, why would I continue to promote somebody who can't take the honest, hey, you fucked up, and my fans are seeing it, over 1 million people are seeing it, you fucked up, can we make something happen for this? And they went, oh, we're not going to deal with this block. It's like, oh, I don't get it. So I just try to look for it. I can't find it. So, but that's not saying I can't find it. You, the audience, be the witness. I really want to see, but has this been the first time you've been banned from a page?
Well, it's like they use different tactics for different circumstances. Like that TikTok video I did where it says, here's an easy side hustle. You can do it right now, kill a man. That one still gets low views compared to a lot of my other stuff. So I assume it was because of the K word that it was that the robot algorithm, whatever, is just not letting people see that. So that one I understand. That was a dark joke. But for just like making a joke about rent prices in Toronto, that's not dark. That's
no.
It gets dark when people have to try to pay it month after month after month. Oh, things get dark. But
I've had a couple of videos that I've made off like made from GIFs and things like that. But sometimes TikTok's bots will mute you for false information, even though it could or could not be. So that is an option to where the thing thought you were giving out information that wasn't either relevant or thought was not the truth.
I mean, that could be the reasons that they're stating. It could be that, but I can't help but lean towards I made a mockery of their show, and now they're mad because they've put millions of dollars into this budget and they don't want people to like throw them off their game or their momentum or create bad press.
Yeah, this one has 1 million views, so I'm imagining this would be the video that you commented on. I am looking. Oh, that's one. Is it Law and Order Toronto?
Law and Order Toronto.
I'm gonna fucking find this. No, like I'm willing to say TikTok bots maybe did something. Their auto system maybe did something. For something, honestly, all in all, it's like I thought the joke was fucking funny. And I'm good with dark humor and light humor. I don't care what color you are. I'm good with all humor. So I think that joke was fucking funny. And the fact that this is the stupid part. And this is why platforms like that will do this. And I'm about to spill some dark fucking secrets of the TikTok and verified motherfuckers. If you make hateful content, positive content, anything that gets someone to like, click, comment, it gets views. Okay. This is what they do. If there's something they don't like, they will hide the user from the page. Not the comment, not anything else. So Joseph, are you still seeing likes on that comment? Because it sounds like they made a hid the user
the last
from the page.
The last like that I have was 41 minutes ago.
I would say that they sat there and said, hey, fuck this Canadian. And they hid you. That means your comment still brings them traction and you can't interact with it.
I have to say it is convolutedly satisfying to have tell the joke so funny that it sort of sucked the energy out of the room. And this is actually this happened to me in a different setting. So I've talked about this TV show a couple of times because I am a big fan of it, and it's called The Orville, which is Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy, wanted to do his own version of Star Trek, but with more optimism and obviously more of his like trademark humor. So in the second season, the second episode, one of the characters is addicted to the simulator, which allows for, I mean, any Star Trek show has a simulation where you can just like recreate stuff. Well, he gets addicted to pornography, which through a simulator is, you know, much more hands-on. And so it's played for laughs that like he keeps going to these like increasingly weird, and the Mocklins are an all-male race, so there's like that gay uncomfort humor that they're going for as well. And he gets so desperate to find stimulation that he turns to another crew member who makes this particular scenario that's going to be really good for him, except that he uploads a virus into it. The virus almost crashes the ship, and then the last minute they manage to get the ship out of the way of an exploding planet. So the lesson being, you know, porn addiction is bad. So I write a comment on the YouTube video that says, there was a great lesson, excuse me, there was a great lesson in this episode about how important it is to update your antivirus software. They turned comments off for that episode.
What? I love how that's where they're like, hold up, wait a minute, this gotten too far.
Seth MacFarlane and Family Guy has told some pretty fucking gross jokes over the years, and the fact that they had to like, they were so like scared to let that joke get through. It's satisfying. It's very satisfying. Where am I going to get banned next? Why don't I just cancel myself? I feel like I just want to cancel myself now. I don't even want to wait until I get canceled. I just want to get ahead of it and just build my empire from there. All right, so guys,
Helldivers, bro. Helldivers.
First question.
No.
Who's here seen Starship Troopers, or at the very least heard of Starship Troopers? I'm getting a no from Jordan, a hands up from Funker and Charles. So Jordan, Starship Troopers is made by Paul Verhoeven, based off a book. And Paul Verhoeven is a class act director. He did the Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall, which is my favorite Schwarzenegger movie. I think he did Showgirls, but I'm going to give that like I'm getting a nod from Funker. Okay, good. And he didn't want to, RoboCop. Oh my God, how did I leave that one for last? And Starship Troopers is this brilliant film that works on two levels. Level one is you're just watching like an action movie where a bunch of hothead soldiers fight a war against the Zerg from StarCraft. And then level two is the satire about what would happen if the military basically ran everything and how citizenship would be tied into your service. And basically everybody's like, oh yeah, the army made me who I am. And then the camera pans out and he's lost like almost all of his appendages. He's got like half one arm left over. So it's satirical. It's tongue in cheek. It's meant to be funny if you're paying attention. Helldivers 2 is Starship Troopers and Terminator at the same time. I was like, wow, this is a great game, but you know, I've got my plate full. But then my friends Fabio and Joshua, who can never agree to play a fucking game, agreed on Helldivers 2. So I was like, all right, I don't want to ruin game night, so I'm pegging this bad boy up. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up today is there's lots of great games that we can talk about, lots of games that deserve airtime, but what makes Helldivers 2 special is that the gaming community has been clamoring for a game made by people who give a shit about games, who actually want to serve their community, and that you can tell from the gameplay, you can tell from the style, you can tell from their humor, how like you can just be like for managed democracy. It's like it's so like tongue in cheek, and it's just it captures the Starship Troopers. For gamers, it's the very least it's worth a look. Just to support a developer that is actually doing right by its fan base. The game right now is at capacity. The developers, Arrowhead, realized too late how popular their game is getting, and they've actually had to try to figure out how to expand their servers, which is like the best kind of problem you can have, right? Is when demand exceeds supply by a hilariously large margin. And then as for the gameplay itself, I do have a bit of a pet peeve, especially when games want to market that they're part of a war and then you don't actually get to see much of the larger or participate in the larger conflict. So it is just a 4-person squad shooter, but what they did was they designed everything around that to make that concept work as effectively as possible. So you will actually see other ships in the distance of other players in other zones. And there are progress bars for a lot of these different planets that are being attacked by the bugs of the Terminators. And it actually goes through the effort to make you feel like you're part of a larger collective effort to, restore peace, freedom, and manage democracy around the galaxy. So it gets your blood pumping. The gameplay is rock solid. And then again, I just wanted to bring it up because when a developer does right, they deserve to have some airtime. So yeah.
Another crazy thing about that game, for someone who like works like with companies and games and promoting video games, stuff like that, that game did not have much promotion at all. I would say bare minimum. But when that game came out and people got to play it, and it's got a high rating right out the gate, no real problems out the gate. There were couple little bugs here and there, but what new game doesn't anymore? But we talked about earlier today, the community needed this game. Gaming community needed a game like this that you can, like you said, they cared about their community. They wanted a game out there that people could come out and play and enjoy right out the gate, and it does do a great job of bringing other people who's never really played games like that into it because they're like, oh, you might actually like this because you like shooter games or RPG games or sandbox games, things like that. This game is we fucking needed this game, bro. It is really, really good.
It also reminds me of what Anthem could have been without the jetpacks if BioWare had actually handled it correctly.
We don't talk about the past.
We don't talk about the games that didn't make the cut.
Right. Or even
okay.
the cutting wood floor.
That is true. So with this, Helldivers came out March 8th, in 2024. It's only available for PlayStation and Steam. Is that correct?
Yep, but it's pretty sure it's crossplay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Nice. But the game developer though, if they didn't put a lot of effort and cloud into it, how did they get on PlayStation so quick? I know Steam, anyone can upload a game on there. That's fucking crazy.
It's a Sony developed game, so it is by Sony Studios.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no. This is the first time I heard about this game is when we're in our room chilling and we're like, talk about this. I went, cool. What the fuck is that? So let me just as an outsider looking in, let me pop up the cracks and let me take a peek. So it is a game. I'm not reading the script. It is a game it's like if Destiny, Borderlands, and Fallout all just fucked. And they shit out
orgy. I think that's what you kind of meant there.
Okay, they made an orgy. Thanks, Dad. And they created this. And then the community said, let's polish it up a bit, and this will be amazing turd. Is that not saying the game's shit, not saying the game is shit, but and the reference, 3 games like that created this, and it's actually good. It has comedy, it has action, and you don't have to be into aliens, you don't have to be into wandering games, building games, and it's still a game that you would sit down and go, I'll give it a shot. Is that correct?
Pretty much, and I will say that is a very Patriot style game. I mean, one of my favorite comments in it is you throw a grenade in one of the monsters' mouths, and it said, "This is the taste of freedom."
That's why you said that at first. I was like, I don't get the fucking reference. Maybe because all the movies you guys talked about at the first, I've never seen any of them, so I would not know any of the movies you're talking. I don't know, Charles. I don't know. I was dropped one too many times, and blindfolded and kidnapped. I need help.
Also, listeners, if you're wondering what he was doing, he was super judging them with his face and eyes and mustache. He was super judgy.
I think it could be a fun game.
I think Charles was doing that. I think his name was Cobby Lane, that popular guy who just like
that. Sorry, audio listeners.
Yeah, no,
We get
yeah.
good audio listeners, and we're just like, he's doing this.
If,
Cappy
Can't be
Lane.
like,
if he doesn't make a DX reference right now, I quit this podcast.
No, that's gonna be when I have to when I finally. I was gonna freaking say that freaking that's gonna happen whenever Jordan finally gets his lazy bum ass freaking on the freaking Halo on freaking Wednesdays, freaking so I can kick his ass for a change.
Listen, there's
mean,
better games out there.
I mean, I'll jump on Halo and kick your ass.
I would rather play Fortnite. I'm sorry, dude. Sometimes I got a new mouse to test out, and I got to test out on a game that I actually been fucking playing. So that's all. Oh, also, me and Charles played last Wednesday. We had a ton of fun. I got to kill him more times. It was fun. But for this game, is it only for 3 player?
It's a 4-player game.
4-player game, bro. If we all had a way to play it, that could be an interesting game to all play. Is it based around like it really need to be strategic teamwork, get things done?
Well, that depends on the difficulty, but let's assume that we're playing on one of the legit difficulties. Oh yeah, you got to be coordinated. So one of the key mechanics in the game are stratagems, which are materials that you can have airdropped. Now these things drop down pretty fast, so you could have them drop on enemy forces to deal some damage, but that's not the point. That's like a side thing that you can do. But you can drop in backup weapons, supplies, so that you get your ammo back, drones. You can just do like airstrikes, strafing runs. And so you got to talk with your team about who's carrying what and make sure that you coordinate your supplies. So you have to be mindful of your resources. So that's where a lot of the strategy comes in, is just like knowing what resources, dealing with the cooldowns for each of the different stratagems, and figuring out
Unlimited lives.
Yeah, exactly. You have like, so every player is the captain of a ship, and each ship has hundreds of Helldivers in it. So every time you lose one of your Helldivers, a new one just comes in its place. But you only get about like 15 lives across all 4 of your teammates to complete a mission. And this last thing, and I don't know if this is part of the gameplay or not, but because on the one hand, the player base is trying to work together to liberate planets, but I don't know if there are tangible consequences to failing or if you just don't give points. But can you imagine how the stakes involved if there actually is like tangible failure for the players, and not we don't just lose and move on to the next mission. It's like, damn, we lost valuable ground. We failed the Empire. I forget the name of the organization that we serve under, but like to actually feel some sort of obligation to play well for the sake of your comrades in arms. I can't think of a game that really pulled that off.
No, because no, I can't think there's really one that ever been able to successfully even attempt that, because you always have one person in the group, and I hate to say if we all played it would be me, that just likes the idea of having fun and not giving a fuck. So if I'm like, oh cool, I'll ruin this mission because it's funny, and it's like, you just let all the trolls in the dungeon. Well, at least it was funny. It's like, no, it wasn't. That was fucking hours of work you just threw down the drain. It's like, but we were recording, so it made content. I'm about to stream.
So for me, Jordan, it's game by game. So like when I was playing with my 2 friends, we were playing Hunt, which is a battle royale, but there's also a lot of PvE enemies. It's, all right, guys, we got to keep it down. Don't agitate the birds. And then you hear my musket going off in the background. Do you mean those birds?
You talking about the, what is it, Hunt?
Hunt Showdown?
Me and a buddy of mine literally just downloaded that game. We started playing yesterday, trying to figure out how to play that game.
It's complicated. It's a complicated game.
You're gonna have to get with me sometime and play it and show us how to work it.
One game I wish that we all could have tried freaking before it died off was Outriders, that third-person sci-fi shooter that came out like a year or so ago. That freaking was another game I was excited for, but that would turn into another disappointment.
Outriders.
Mostly because I freaking it's a pain in the ass to play that game by yourself.
This literally looks like Destiny threw up all over it. No, Destiny and Gears of War. That's literally what this game looks like. So I could see why people would actually dig, and I would see why you wanted us to play it. My issue is like I can't play serious. If I play too serious, then I become either an ass or I just can't get too competitive with stuff. So now I have to put my brain in the content. I'm like, gotta make it funny. No one's recording. I don't care. It's like I'm the comedian. Gotta do what's possible. So if I can fail something out of humor, I'll do it. Now, grant you, if there's too many of those people in the game, you're never gonna get anywhere. So it's like I need stable people. Like I need you guys to play those games with. So if it's a hunt, for an example, oh look, don't disturb the birds. Bam. Joseph already did it, and I'm like, now I gotta top this. Left 4 Dead. Don't disturb the car. Bam. That car. It's like,
And I'm like, well, fuck me.
yeah, and then you abandon us all for dead. So honestly, I think the game's cool. If it goes on sale, because I'm not paying $40 for a game I'm gonna play a handful of times. If it goes on sale, I'll probably end up go ahead and getting it and giving it a shot. It looks what was it? Hell Drivers? Yeah, Hell Drivers. I'll give it a shot. I'm actually more than fine with trying to give a game a shot.
Not driver.
Driver like
Diver.
dive. Oh, yeah, that's different. I'm stupid. Welcome to Scorner Podcast.
Think all y'all ready to play, or did it?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
go.
we ready to play 2 truths, 1 lie? Oh, okay. How does this work? Well, it's obvious for those of you who may not know. This is something you can do with your friends, something you can do with random strangers, and something you can do with your mom. I wouldn't, because she talks about anal too much. So what usually happens with this is you will tell 2 truths that actually will happen in your life or happened in your life. That's how I should word it. And you will put 1 lie that is actually believable that would happen in your life. So such as I could say, I was a professional swimmer. I never kissed a girl until I was 18. And I was a virgin until I was 21. You'd be like, which one's a lie? That would be for you to find out. So now we got the rules, the understandings kind of understood. Any questions or concerns I can answer for you? Let's go.
All I have to say
Who's going first?
is God bless our troops. God bless America. Hey, gentlemen, start your entrance.
Sir!
I like the NASCAR bit, Joseph.
Royal goalie.
We said about starting the game, and then we all immediately say, we can derail this shit. Okay, who's going first? It cannot be me. It's going to sound like, oh, Charles, go first. Yeah.
Do you guys believe that I'm actually doing better view-wise and I freaking, I have to say that again. Would you guys believe that I'm actually doing better, even though I'm a way smaller channel than freaking DSP?
Okay, there's a truth or a lie. You have to add 3 more, or 2 more.
2 more.
2 truths and a lie, and we have to find out which one's a lie.
I've been playing a game called Power World, which is that game that's basically Pokemon with guns, and personally, I think it's better than Pokemon.
Okay, what's the third one?
I might stop playing Halo freaking if they do actually go to PlayStation.
Okay, this one's actually kind of tough. The first one's true. I know you're doing much better than some bigger channels are. So
What?
I know the
What?
first
You didn't
one's
say what
true.
I don't know. I don't know because he did say he used a voice. Did you use a voice mod on your
Oh.
channel? So I feel like that's the lie.
But the thing is, though, he just said powwow that might be better than Pokemon.
Power World.
What
Power
the
World.
fuck ever, you virgin! Anyway,
Like,
but for someone who's as big of a Pokemon fan as Charles is, I'm thinking that one's a lie. Cause that's just I brought up them before. I was like, Pokemon with guns, and he's like, so Joseph, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Halo one because I think as much as it will piss you off, you'll probably still end up just kind of like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna play Halo again.
Okay, Charles, which one is the lie?
Power World 1.
Yes, let's go.
But it is better than Pokemon.
Not for Charles. This motherfucker did not spend so much money on fucking Pokemon.
It's just that like like Pokemon and Pal World are very different games. It's like comparing Mortal Kombat to NASCAR.
Plus, even if Halo did go to
Damn.
PlayStation, I guess as long as I can still play it on my Xbox, I'll just play it on my Xbox.
You know, I honestly, Charles, I give you a round of applause. I did not think you were gonna put those in there. The Halo one kind of caught me off guard. I went, I don't think he would stop playing. Like, it'll be like, oh, I hate Resident Evil because they did this one thing. No, I'm still gonna buy the next game. And then the first one, I know you're doing good on YouTube. You're doing great. You just hit 300 subscribers and you're still growing. So, yeah. Okay, that was solid.
I was told thinking that by a Twitch streamer that I've been watching for like 6 years or so, and some change. Freaking even he said freaking that I'm apparently doing better than Darkside Phil, which shocked me. And I even looked it up, and I was like, holy shit, I actually am doing better than him.
Congratulations. Keep up the work. Keep up the editing. Who's going next?
I'll go next.
I'll go.
Fuck Darkside Phil, by the way.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, in high school, this is the setup for it. So the three ones have to do with this category. I categorized mine. So in high school, my friends and I did jackass stunts, and we did quite a few. I got to scrub the internet, see if I can figure out where they went. I'm going to name you 3 stunts, and you tell me which one I did not do. So stunt number 1, I built a modified slip and slide where we slid tackled a mountain of chairs and garbage cans. Number 2, we reenacted a Roman chariot race involving 4 carriers per chair and a blind rider for each team armed with toy maces. The objective was to knock the other person off their chariot or get to the finish line. And number 3, we recreated the science experiment. I don't know what the name of it is, but you know how you have those balls and you go like this and it goes tick, and it hits the center and then the other ball flies off on the other side. It goes tick, tick, tick. Yeah, so we recreated that with a soccer post using rope and tire swings.
I will say this much. Who
Go ahead.
Who wasn't trying to do jackass shit, even though they said not to in the early 2000s?
Exactly.
They did their due diligence, and it didn't work.
But the thing is Joseph was a young comedian back then, so he would have done anything to make someone laugh.
So every bit of that would have been, that's rough.
So the only thing that doesn't require anyone actually getting some fun out of it would be the last one. It's a fucking science project. Who cares about that? Locking it in, number 3. You guys do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck.
Well, you realize that we were on the tire swings. Did you want to change your answer?
Let me think about it.
I'm gonna say number 2 is the lie.
The chariot race?
Yep.
Okay.
1.
You know what? Just so I'm not tagging in with anyone else, I'm still locking in my answer.
All right.
Still locking it in.
The answer is the third one. The science experiment was the lie. The other
Jordan,
2 happened.
2 for 2, Jordan.
Let's fucking go, boys. Let's go.
We'll say off topic though.
Yeah.
Sorry. I will say off topic though, freaking Power World is fun, just that this fucking game crashed on me like half a dozen times already. And my freaking thing, it randomly just closed the whole thing off for really out of the blue. And it freaking froze on me at least twice by now, and it's like, I freaking played shit in beta before. Freaking that's worked better than this thing. Freaking I played the freaking Halo Infinite tech demo for Christ's sake, and I didn't even have these kind of problems.
Okay, well, the rap what you're saying, remember, it's in beta. 2, they now have to put their money into attorneys, so Nintendo don't sue the fuck out of them.
Oh, and they'll do it too.
Oh, they will. I bet they already have papers going, you little fuckers. And so, 100%. Joseph, I know most lies are around a truth. So what part of the third one was like kind of true?
The fact that I would still do it to this day if I had the means, motive, and method.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
I do want to do that because I think it will scientifically check out, and then you'll have people on the tire swings bouncing back and forth, and then eventually someone will people will start to twist, and then people will fall off. So I think it's got potential to be a good stunt.
I think it won't work with rubber because rubber is going to absorb the blast. I think if you grab something more solid that doesn't absorb it but transfers the energy to, I think it would work then, and then that could be fucking very entertaining. But I think one day we should try both of those theories. I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
I'm a fucking nerd.
Slick, so it probably wouldn't make it all the way through unless you only put like 1 or 2 balls there, and you'd have to do a pretty good velocity for that.
Grab a
Interesting.
midget. Lead him off. Yay!
Well, I think the how far back people are going to be pulled by the way should have something to do with this too. So we like really give a lot of torque. I think it has some it'll have some potential. We did not wear helmets. We should have worn helmets.
Okay,
All
Bonker, I think it's your turn.
All right.
I want to go for the 3 for 3.
All right. We're gonna do sexual experiences for the first
Oh
one.
shit!
That's my round
Hang
two.
on, let me get a pen and paper. God damn.
All right.
That's my baby, by the way.
The dog?
I pulled out.
Okay.
You know what
Okay.
I mean? I've had her since she was a puppy.
I know. My brain's always in the gutter. Okay, Bunker, go ahead.
I love how he's writing this one down like he's gotta like.
Hey, just
decipher it. All right,
go
so
for it.
anyway,
Just go
first
for it.
one. I met a girl. She was super cool. This was about 2001, and I met her at the bar. We were chatting, and she's like, "Hey, you want to come back to my house?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I was drinking, right? And she was like, "Just, I live with my parents, so we're gonna have to be quiet." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." You know, it's 2001, and I'm young. So we get back to our house. We're in the bedroom full now, super dark, right? And I'm like, could we like turn on the light or something like while we're trying to do this? And at this point, my eyes are starting to like focus to the dark, right? So she gets up, turns on her light, and I am completely surrounded by Teletubbies. Her entire room was filled with Teletubbies. I couldn't continue, and I left as quietly as I could. That's the first one.
I would
So-
pull out a gun.
Okay, so
He couldn't tinky winky, so he dipsied on out of there.
okay. So summarize that in the shortest way possible.
She turned on the lights while we were having sex, and I see nothing but Teletubbies.
Okay. Second one.
Second one, try to cut this one up even shorter. I have to tell stories when I tell.
No,
these things.
that's totally fine. I just want that recap.
Okay, gotcha. Second one, not too long after that, I'd say probably like 6 months or so. Ended up meeting this girl through some friends. Her and I were pretty much vibing like immediately, right? We were making like screwed comments and other random, really fucked up comments towards each other. And she was like, "Hey, do you want to just come over sometime and like watch a movie or something like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I go over there, and we hang out. We're doing our thing. We start like fucking around on the couch, right? And as we're starting to have like intercourse on the couch, her dog jumps up and tries to hump me. And I was like, I smacked her dog. She gets mad at me for smacking her dog while the dog was trying to hump me while I'm humping her.
Okay.
Story number 2. Story number 3. And this one is a little messed up. I went on a camping trip with the girl I was seeing at the time. It was me, her, and a couple other friends. We got really, really drunk. And me and her were trying to have sex by the fire where everybody was asleep. And we were going at it, and I went to go stand up and fell over and fell into the fire for a split second and jumped out. Problem was, you smelled burnt hair because back then I didn't shave much. And that's 3.
Okay, I'm gonna lock in my guess for the second one.
Second one? Okay.
Yep. But I don't want to explain my reasoning until it's revealed.
Okay.
So I kind of want to lock in the first one as a lie because, listen, how old were you?
What, in 2001?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
We could bleep it. So you're telling me a horny little funker would say no because she had some fucking Teletubbies. No, I think my man's fucking going 4 knuckles in, baby. I'm locking in that the first one's a
So
lie.
you believe the Teletubbies happened no matter what. You're just calling him out that he didn't he didn't continue on with the intercourse.
Honestly, yeah.
Okay.
That's hilarious. Well,
Or
all
they're
right.
like fucking Furbies or some shit. Charles, what do you think?
Three.
Okay.
third-
Okay. We got the
Yeah.
Nice full
All right.
spread out.
The answer is it was actually the second one.
yes. Okay.
What?
So
You said no to pussy because of Teletubbies?
I am because of that. Because of how the situation was going down, I'm actually terrified of those things today. I still don't fucking like those creepy things
I was always
at all
Okay.
in any sense. But go tell me what you thought. Why number 2?
So all of your stories sounded equally plausible, but so the only thing that I could do was listen carefully to the way you were telling the story. And I noticed in story number 2, you were having a little bit of a harder time with it. So a bit of a risk on my part because maybe it was just recollection, but there was like, and then we met this girl and then we exchanged a lot of comments and texts and it was some pretty fucked up shit. I'm like, he would give me an example, I think. So the storytelling, I think, is what I was trying to base it off of.
Well, I will tell you, part of it was because I was trying to figure out a way to where you didn't have to edit so much out if I said some of the shit that we said to each other. That part was actually true. It was part of it. The other ending part of that was not.
Valid.
I was gonna say 2 as well, but freaking I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Bet hedging is like a legitimate strategy. So much so that we could agree to like once somebody guesses you can't. I don't know. I don't want to do that.
You
but
want to immediately lock your answers in?
and then no one else can pick it. So that would be kind of like an extreme way where like people are kind of forced to. Then we don't double up on points. I'm sorry. I'm wearing my developer's hat. I'm taking the hat off now. Let's go on to the next round.
Hey,
Now,
let's finish this
hold on.
round. Yeah.
1 second. I just want to say, Jordan, well, actually, all of you, fuck you. If you thought, like, oh, my boy's got to keep hitting it no matter how awkward the situation is. Nowadays, yes. Let the dog cut my leg. I don't give a fuck.
So, yeah. But here's the thing is though, I don't know. I just felt like Teletubbies when I figured like that was the lies. Like it was like, fucking like pictures of dolls or like her parents in the living room while it was all happening, like something like that. And while you're like, I can't finish, not fucking Teletubbies, you fuck.
I lost my virginity to an episode of Adventure Time. That's not part of the game. I'm not saying that's a truth or a lie. I'm just saying that's what it's like.
All right, Jordan, let's go.
It was the underwater
Okay.
episode. They were in a submarine. Anyways,
I'm gonna make them simple. I'm gonna make them quick, like my sex life.
And short.
That's sex life.
Exactly. So you guys get to be the judge of that, I guess. So this one's gonna be the easier one. I'm a virgin. I had my first kiss when I was 18. I almost had sex when I was 14 with a 26-year-old.
I have a hard time believing that third one, but at the same time with the first
Actually,
one,
with
freaking,
Jordan,
I
with
don't know.
his luck with women, no, I believe number 3.
This is gonna be very interesting.
Well, honestly, the first one sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you call bullshit on the first one because freaking you're literally dating somebody that freaking has an OnlyFans and I'm pretty sure you're freaking married and I'm pretty sure you told me that you literally almost got it on one time but freaking had to cut it short for some I forget what the
He
reason
said
was.
almost.
Oh, I said almost. Oh no.
I'm gonna go with one.
I agree. I'm gonna go subscribe to her OnlyFans and see if I can get any clues.
Actually, you should check his parents. It's way more better content.
More clues. So if, and I mean if, number 1 is true, I would commend you for your temperance. So I wouldn't necessarily think it's a bad thing if the two of you are maybe waiting for marriage or crossing a certain threshold. So like if that's true, by all means, but it's got to be the lie. I do gotta vote for it.
Okay, so we have one person going on one. Charles.
I think 3 is the lie, because there's no way even your dumbass would be stupid enough to try to get with somebody twice your age. And I can say that because we were practically brothers.
Okay. So you think number 3 is a lie, Bunker?
Number 1.
Okay. You guys said, and I quote, the lie. I don't know what I just said a second ago. The 3 answers on the table were, I'm a virgin. I had my first kiss when I was 18. And I almost had sex with a woman who was 26 when I was 18. The
Is it
lie
14?
is, whatever. The lie is, the last one. It was 3.
I fucking knew it, because I've known you long enough to even know your dumbass is freaking smarter than that.
So here's the problem. The reason I didn't was because she was with her roommate was a girl that my mom knew, and it was Halloween. And I was like,
Now, I
That
just
would've been
want
a one
to
way to freaking.
one
We
thing
did
I just need to
fun,
say is like, you said 18, and then we had to correct you, say 14. And you're like, it doesn't make a fucking difference. No, it makes a
Yeah.
fucking world of difference. Okay,
Well,
one
it
is
does make
a
the
statutory
difference because
rape,
telling
and the
the
other
answer.
is not that.
no, so that's why I was like, at the end, I was like, yeah, I fucked up the lie. Who cares? That number 3 is a lie. Because it was like, yeah, no, I would never sit there and do that. And yes, I guess the biggest thing in the room is, yes, I'm actually still a virgin. And does that affect me in any sort of way? Absolutely not. And the reason I am has to do with marriage. I'm just an honest person. I'm a very committed person, and I feel like that shouldn't be the determination of anything. That's also why things might be moving in the future here soon. Daddy,
You did.
please, I'm
You
joking.
did. You did
wanna be a
say
flower
sex
girl.
was a waste of time. You did say that.
Yes,
So there's been foreshadowing for this.
exactly. Now, grant you, I hope this is not the episode that kicks off. Because, oh man, I can't wait for that to be the number one thing. You a virgin? Hey, listen, I'm a virgin, but my mouth isn't. What the fuck?
Well, we all definitely commend you for that one. That one I would not even expect it, to be honest with you. But good for you guys.
Yeah,
Plus,
good,
if your
good
mom
job.
found
guys.
out. Plus, if your mom found out that you at 14 was getting it on with somebody that was like twice your age, I've been a one-man trip to freaking prison and a freaking label as a pedophile for freaking that lady.
So
the only
here,
reason hold on, I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you.
yeah. Go.
The reason I thought that would be real is because the stories you tell about some of these women that hit up on you, like throughout the time that I've known you, that just feels like something that you would have done at some point.
I believed it
Here-
because you said almost.
Yeah. So here's the problem is legitimately that story almost happened, except I was 16 and she was 20. But on Halloween, because that was when I hit my growth spurt, I was 16 and I went from 5'1" to 6'3". And so in that year I grew massively, and yeah, so she was like, "Oh, you must be old enough." And even though she was 20 or 21, she could have lied. But she was dressed up as a sexy cat. I was dressed up as a police officer, and she wanted me to purr her under arrest. So, and her place was right across the street from the
You're
gathering
under
we were at
arrest
on
for
Halloween.
Perjury.
God damn, we're funny. Okay, now we're already actually we are an hour into the podcast. Do we want to do one more?
I want to
Yeah,
do
let's
both
do
of
it.
mine.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's
This is a
hit
good
it.
time.
Let's start with Joseph. Let's do yours first.
Okay, just in case we don't get to both for whatever reason, would you guys rather? Oh my god, I think I know what you guys are gonna fucking pick. But do you guys want the sexual round or you want the hospital round?
Sexual.
Yeah, due diligence on that one. Okay, so
I just told everyone I'm a virgin. Shut the fuck up.
so here we go. Number one, I had my first orgasm the same day I graduated elementary school. Number two, I hired an escort to do a girlfriend session with me after meeting her on a podcast. And number three, I a woman I went on a date with after a Smash Bros tournament.
Oh man, this is rough.
Number one's a lie.
Okay.
Gar, can you recap all three of those for me? If you could?
With okay, well, maybe not pleasure is the operative term, but with some degree of satisfaction. Okay, number 1, had my first orgasm the same day I graduated elementary school. Number 2, hired an escort to do a girlfriend session with me after meeting her on a podcast. And number 3, to the woman I went on a date with after a Smash Bros tournament.
See, I believe that last one because it's like, bro, anything could have been the case. So, just saying, I still think it's number 1. I don't think you had your first cum session the same day you graduated. Fuck you.
Fuck you too. So you locked in your answer?
Yes, it's locked in. Number 1's locked in for me.
I have so many questions. I'm not gonna just.
See, that's why
anything.
I'll tell the stories afterwards because the truths are as shocking as the lie.
I'm gonna go, and this is just me picking because it's wild. So I'm just gonna go with number 2, just because Jordan said 1. I'm gonna go with
The
number
escort
2.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
And
the
Charles, because he abstained in absentia, he's gonna automatically pick part number 3.
Okay.
I was moving because my
Okay.
dog was being a pain in the ass.
For the hat trick. So number 1, had my first orgasm the same day I graduated elementary school. Number 2, hired an escort to do a girlfriend session with me after meeting her on a podcast. Number 3, a woman I went on a date with after a Smash Bros tournament. Jordan picked 1, and he didn't hesitate, which scares me. And Funker, after giving it some thought, you went with number 2.
Yep.
Okay.
3.
Okay. And the answer is number 2, the escort one. I did meet a sex worker through a podcast because some of the early stuff I produced was in the sex and adult industry. So I did meet her, and I was tempted, but I didn't do it. I have yet to, and I probably won't ever have sex with an escort. Now, Jordan, the first one, I didn't masturbate. We remember last episode we had talked about like early experiences and how pornography is sort of devolved in certain ways. Well, when I was young and Friday night at midnight was softcore pornography on City TV, and one of the movies, just the pacing was so good. It was just like scene after scene after scene, and it just got me so like excited, and then the excitement just became overwhelming, and it just came. So hands off. Didn't touch whatsoever.
More like
it just
hands
happened.
on.
I have to push back. I got to push back on that when there was no hands. It was just cloth. So yeah. Now as for the third one, so this was a lady. Now I did not act like, there was no fist. There was no actual physical harm done. It was just a lot of miscommunication. She kept kind of like consenting to like let me into her house. Like, oh, okay. Let me into her bed. Oh, okay. Let me into her vagina. Oh, okay. And it wasn't until a day later that she was texting me, shaming me for my behavior, saying that my responses were murky and that I have to remember that no means no.
No.
Which
No, I don't like it when you're on here with me. Oh.
Coincidental, but
Exactly.
funny as shit.
And the reason why I believe that it is technically was, I think it was like a week later, 2 weeks later, she messages me again and for the last time says, "Hey, you know my last name, but I never learned your last name." And me not thinking I told her my last name, and then years later I reflected on that and I thought, she probably got my last name because she probably reported me to the police. As why? What the hell else would she need that for? Right. What else would she need it for? So technically, she did not consent at the degree that I thought she was consenting, and it made her uncomfortable. But that's the Jordan. You were right on the money. That the lines can be very blurred and can be easy to cross without realizing it. And as guys, like we want to. Well, Jordan seems to have a handle under it. But as guys, we want to have sex. So like, we don't necessarily think clearly. So I definitely learned a lot from that.
By the way, I just want to say I'm just never going to take like sex advice from Jordan ever again.
I've never given you any.
I'm only going to take sex advice from Jordan from now on.
See, I'm the thing is no one ever just flat out asks me, and anytime I do, I'm like, anytime someone's like, "Are you?" They just don't assume it because I've been in a relationship for 7 years or going on 7 years, and they're just like, "You were captured out of when you were 18, so you definitely." It's like, no, it's a waste of time. I would rather put that time and energy into business, and it saves something for the future. And since I'm always worried that we're missing memories like left and right, and any chance we have is slipped away, I want to make sure that whenever it happens, it's special and I last for 4.5 seconds. I'm working on it though. I got the thrust game.
Well, as I said in something about Mary, make sure you relieve yourself before you go in there and do anything.
Motherfucker, we getting that blue chew round 2. Fuck! I accidentally closed my goddamn browser for a second. Okay. I'm sorry. Perfect time to add that in there. Bunker.
So this one's pretty wild. So, the category for this one is wild food that I've eaten.
Let's go.
Everyone knows, like, I'm from California, right? Everyone knows that. And where I live now is Ohio. So the big difference in between the two. So there's a couple of restaurants when I was younger in California. And some of the restaurants here and a few other states that I've been to. But the first one, I went into a restaurant when I was, 19. And I went in there and tried alligator. I ended up having to go to the hospital because they didn't cook it right. And when I was chewing on it, it kept swelling up. The more I chewed on it, the bigger it got. And it got to the point where I was not thinking about it, and I accidentally swallowed it, and it got stuck in my throat. Had to go to the hospital. Second story. Okay, that's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Went to I don't know what they call, like a lobster den, like where they have nothing but lobster, and like they're all live and they drop them in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and a girl went there, and we were getting lobster. Which, by the way, I'm not a big fan of lobster to begin with.
Okay.
We get the lobster. We pick which one we're getting. I picked one that was super, like, just he was just running around, running over top of everyone else. And so I get him. Well, they put the big pan thing in front of you, right? And they drop him like in there, and they make this real wild, like high pitched sound when they're like thrown in there before they die. So he put him in there. He starts screaming. Somehow he jumps out. Like he just jumps out, comes out the end, and like falls on me, hot as fuck.
Okay.
Okay. I freak out. I kick the pan. Pan goes everywhere. Hot water all over the place. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Last story. Went to a Ma and Paul. What is it? Mexican restaurant. You go in there. I started eating some of the food. They're like, "Oh, try this, try this, try this." We're eating it. Then I found out 2 weeks later that place was shut down because they were cooking with cat and dog.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. Okay, first of all, number 3 is obviously the truth. My Mexican restaurant probably does it, so I'm just saying it's probably the truth. Why else would there be 3 Mexican restaurants in small towns? Makes no fucking sense. And why are there strays running around? Ooh. So I think number 3 is real. Number 2 sounds like it could be true, but number 1. I've had alligator, but I've never had meat expand. If so, God, I can help out a lot of women. So I'm going to say number 1's a lie.
Okay.
The reason why I want to go with number 2 is because you said the lobster was screaming as it jumped out of or was the people screaming?
No, it was when you throw them in there, they scream a little bit. They have like a high pitched scream.
Okay. I'm going to go with number 2.
3.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Come on, give me the point. Go ahead.
It was actually number 3. I've never seen a restaurant come and that did that.
I mean,
Fucking
all right,
what?
fair enough.
Okay, so are you sure you had alligator and wasn't some dude named Bruce?
No. So, what happened was by what I'm told, like I said, I don't know how to cook any of that stuff, but if you do not cook it right, it still stays a little like raw. So the part that I ate was more of the fatty, and so I kept chewing it, kept getting swelled up because of the water in my mouth and everything like that. So I started trying to swallow it because I got tired of chewing it, and I actually got stuck. That is an actual true story.
It's crazy.
Okay.
I know that's a thing that I've learned about when it comes to people that serve in these random places that serve like puffer fish. If there's only like one part of that thing you can actually eat, the rest is poisonous. And if they don't give you the part that you're supposed to actually be able to eat, then you could die from that shit. Also, John, you can suck.
I mean, you can die if chicken is cooked improperly, and most of us probably have chicken each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Dude, I would.
I had to look this
By
up
the way,
because it says that lobsters, while they don't have vocal cords, and I have no voice and therefore I cannot scream, is the life of a lobster, but they do emit a high-pitched squeal that is the result of air leaving some of their air pockets. So it sounds like they're screaming even if they're dead. So yeah, that's what threw me in for.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like he was screaming, so you're probably right. I just remember the high-pitched squeal thing and him.
Vietnam flashbacks. Okay. Then
Well, like I said, the big pan was like this big, and like let's say about like that big around, filled with boiling hot water in front of you. So when I see that thing pop back up, I kicked.
See, that's why I thought that was definitely gonna be true. I'm like, yeah, that can happen. I mean, I don't see him fucking Superman out of there, but I'm like, sure can happen. The alligator thing, I've had alligator before, but I've never had what your experience where like you shoot it and it's just growing and growing and growing. Because goddamn, if that's the case,
Yeah,
I'm
I've had
putting
it a couple
something
different
in my
times. It was
ass.
the only time it ever happened that way. Who knows? It was one of those really weird places down in Florida.
Fair. Okay, Charles, 2 truths, 1 lie.
I've tried it for sports before when I was younger. I'm not gonna say it. This part of this one freaking. I'd rather there's parts of it I'd rather not say, but just say that a place I used to work at is partially responsible for why I've thought about committing suicide at one point.
Mhm.
Trying to think of a third one.
Interesting strategy. He's thinking of these on the fly.
I committed. I got away with committing a crime once, unintentionally.
The first one's a lie. Because the thing is, you don't seem like a sports guy. Unless if it's NASCAR, I don't see you doing sports. The second one, unfortunately, I know you too much and work fucking sucks. And I know exactly what place you're talking about. So it's like, no, we're not going to say name on camera, but it rhymes with, not going to say it. And then the fourth one, it's like, no. I'm going to go with number 1's a lie.
You mean the third one, not the fourth one?
No, the first one. The first one's a lie.
No, you said fourth, but anyways,
Oh.
I'm gonna go. How much I want to say, like, you're not a sports guy. We were all probably pretty different when we were little kids. So I'm probably gonna have to go with 3 is the lie.
Joseph?
I tried out for sports teams. Let that sink in. So it's just that, like, I believe that number 2 is without question the truth. Charles, can I hear number 3 again?
I may or may not have unintentionally committed a crime.
Oh, I mean, committed crimes, but like since we started recording this episode. So
I've committed so many.
I am. First of all, no one's picked 2, so I'm going to pick 2 for coverage,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my answer.
Okay, which one's the lie?
No.
Sad part is they're actually all true.
That's not how the game
It's
works.
not the game worse.
I know. I traded for sports when I was younger, mostly because it was especially where I was feeling like my family is giving my sister, my brother, mostly my sister, more attention than me. Because yes, I will admit I'm a bit of an attention seeker, thinking because it seems like everybody else was getting, because my sister was getting high on her and all that other bullshit, and I felt like it wasn't fair that she was being treated better than me, even though I was doing just as trying my best to do as good as she was in school and everything, and it's like she was getting shit that I did wasn't getting, and it was like. And second, like Jordan said, faking when now faking to say it, used to work in an Indian restaurant a long freaking time ago. And let's just say some of the shit that happened to me when I was working there, freaking, I almost wanted to. And the third thing is, well, freaking, I probably shouldn't be saying this on camera, but freaking, I'll tell you about it off camera.
Okay.
Even though this happened like freaking, if this happened like a year or two ago, so I'm pretty sure nothing will happen anyways, but still.
The statute of limitations might go a little longer than that.
Okay, so
See why I'm not saying it on camera.
everyone will get a point for that one.
But that's not the thing with the Indian restaurant. Wasn't the only thing that was making me want to try to commit suicide. Thinking about suicide, but it was mostly during that time when Jordan was still working at Amazon. Freaking, I was just freaking dealing with a lot of freaking emotional and freaking mental freaking stress at the time.
Because you didn't have my boy. And see, I would never have said 2 was lie just because I'm like, if I say it's a lie, it could be me making fun of like his mental health. So I'm like, I can't say 2's a lie.
It was just
Plus,
it's like because a lot of these are like there's still kernels of truth in them. So sometimes the lie is just like a detail. Like, oh no, it wasn't that restaurant, it was this restaurant. So it could have been along those lines, but obviously it wasn't. In fact, there was no lie whatsoever.
And we all been screwed over by Indians, so that's racist. I'm sorry.
Who was it that said 3? Because that was kind of a freaking lie, because it wasn't technically my fault, because freaking it's not my fault Walmart employees didn't do their job to take care of something that was freaking open on a freaking shelf. Anybody in my situation would have freaking took the advantage anyways. Freaking, I paid for what I actually went there to get, and nobody came out to stop me, so...
What are those people that buys a big screen TV and a banana?
I paid for the banana. I paid for the banana. I've stolen so many grapes. I really hope the feds don't come after me. Like, as a kid, seeing those open bags of grapes, you're just like, I'm grabbing a few. My mom's sitting here looking at fucking grapefruit for some reason. I'm going in. So, okay. So I'll do mine on the fly. Keep it quick, keep it fast, keep it short. I should call her. Okay. Are you fanning yourself? Oh, or just I'm not.
No, it's
okay.
Anya from
They look
Spy
like
Family.
nutsacks. Oh,
A gift from
I thought it was a tea.
there we go.
I thought he was trying to.
I thought it was. That's what I was gonna say. I thought it was a tea bag.
That's some
I thought it was
advanced
one of those like.
teabagging.
Have you seen some of the ways people teabag each? Have you seen some of the ways people teabag each other in freaking Call of Duty and Halo and shit? I've seen some people teabag in some interesting ways in Destiny.
May have.
All right.
George,
let's go.
Okay. I've personally met 10 famous people.
Well, that's straight up giveaway that's a lie, because you met like a freaking dozen famous people at RTX last year.
Hold up. Gotta not
Hold
say
on.
anything.
I met at least 10 famous people. I have killed my dog. I killed my turtle.
All right.
Number 2.
So you killed 10 famous people, or you killed...
No, I didn't kill. I met over 10 famous people.
Well, I mean, the first step towards killing them is you gotta meet them.
That is true. Just saying. Some people might not be found.
And then it was either you picked off a dog or you picked off a turtle. I'm gonna go with the dog. I just don't see you being around a turtle, because turtles go at a pretty slow pace, and I just feel like that never would like gel with you. So I don't feel like you've ever even like talked to a turtle. Whereas I think an accident might have happened, and you might have taken the life of a poor dog. That's my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my that the turtle is a lie.
The turtle's
No,
a lie.
No, that you
I killed the
Yeah.
turtle.
killed the turtle. Yeah.
You think
Yes,
that's a
yes. And
lie?
sorry, I kind of
Oh.
was convoluted, but yeah, I'm going with the turtle as well.
The turtle's a lie, Charles.
I still think the first one is a lot of bullshit because of all those people you met at freaking RTX. Plus, I know how freaking I known you long enough when you lived at a one house. We had like freaking horses, a bunch of dogs, and all the other freaking animals that you had.
Had to put some of them down.
I know because you told me.
Oh, so which one's a lie, Charles?
The first one. I could literally go back and watch your RTX video freaking and count how many famous people you met in that video.
Okay. So all the answers are locked in. We got 2 on 3 and 1 on 1. So I will roll fast say I met over 10 people. Over 10 famous people. I didn't say less than 10 famous people. I met over 10 famous people. That is 100% true. This was the one that was like super easy. And I have never killed a turtle. I lost my turtle though. He was a great little guy. I named him Emerald, and he was great. He was a red ear slider turtle, and he just went missing one day. Probably a cat ate him. But I annihilated 3 dogs: a German Shepherd, Pekingese, and a poodle. Not all at once, but just in a period of my life, I have hit some animals. I've never been any that actually had to put an animal down. But if you go in the middle of the road as I'm going 65 miles an hour, I'm not gonna swerve. You are becoming one with my truck. So yeah, I've hit 3 dogs, and I've not felt good about any one of them. The one I actually pulled on the side of the road and cried because right after that I fucking flattened a bird. I hit a dog. I was like, "Oh my god! I just hit that poor fucking puppy!" And then not even miles down the road, I'm like, "Man, that poor fucking dog bird!" I'm like, "Fuck!"
I guess you never know till you're tested, but I feel like I wouldn't feel bad about the bird. Like you had wings and insurance. What are you doing?
I mean, in the bird's case just reminds me of what happened to Dale Earnhardt at Daytona 500 back in 1990 when he hit a seagull with his car on the last lap and it freaking destroyed the front part of his car. Derek Cope won his only one NASCAR win because of that.
It's good to know.
So Derek Cope owes his one NASCAR Cup Series win to that fucking seagull.
So, I just realized, for all of you listeners out there, I'm actually drinking Mountain Dew Code Red, and I was changing my lights. Had no idea that they actually match right now.
Shit, did not know that either. And I'm
I
a
was sitting here
video
drinking, I was
listener.
like- yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's actually kind of amusing.
Awesome.
The only reason
Okay.
why that flavor popped off is because of Halo 3.
Speaking of Code Red, here are my hospital. Here's my hospital
Yes.
one.
Okay.
All right. So, and this is the last one that I've got. So, number 1, I was a female for 5 minutes. Number 2, an insane patient begged me for help before getting tackled by a nurse. And number 3, I had to have an emergency operation to stop a nosebleed.
You know, I really want to say the first one's a lie.
Hermaphrodite much?
I mean, not that much, but you do.
5 minutes much. I have to go with number 1's a lie. I know it keeps sounding like I'm just picking number 1, but number 1 sounds like because here's the thing. In a hospital, you have patients running out of the room going, "Help me!" and then get fucking tackled, and you're like, "I didn't do it." So that happens a shit ton. It's just, did you experience it? Don't know. And then it's like the third one, I can see that happening. A nosebleed, don't know what's causing it. If it's massive, like a broken nose or something like that, yeah, you need surgery. Especially if it's starting to have internal bleeding. Okay. So I'm going with 1. I know I'm explaining my answers and helping out, but I'm going with 1.
Same.
I would have to say I'm going to go with 1 as well without reading into anything. Just 1. So
Okay. Charles.
It's freaking, I'm torn between picking either 1 or 3 because I've had nosebleeds, but that's most because freaking I've had nosebleeds randomly happen because of how dry the air is down here. But
starting to like this game. Okay, so we have 2 1s and a 3. Boom, boom, boom.
I was saying 1, but I'll stick with 3.
You're sticking with 3.
Sorry.
Okay, and so the lie is number 3. So I did have a nosebleed that made me have to go to the emergency room, but it stopped. And then because I deal with dry weather too, and so I was eventually recommended this saline spray that goes right up the nostril, the nasal cavity, where the fuck it's called, and it moisturizes this exposed vein that I have. Now, so problem solved. I barely get nosebleeds anymore. Now, that same nosebleed was the reason why number 1 happened, because I checked into the hospital, checked into the emergency room, had my information all worked out, and they put a wristband on me as they sent me to triage. And on that wristband, it said Joseph Ayani, sex, female. So for the 5 minutes that it took me before my record was corrected, I was technically female for 5 minutes. And then number 2, it just haunts me to this very day, because when I was in like the 4th grade, my nonno, which is Italian for grandfather, was in the hospital, and there was one night where I wandered around the floor, and no one warned me not to, which they probably should have. And so there was this open door. I peek in, and a gentleman who looked to be maybe late 40s, early 50s, grayish hair, thin built, tall guy. He sees me, and he just gets up out of the bed, and he just starts walking towards me saying, help me, you got to help me. And a nurse grabs him, restrains him, and I just ran for it back into the other room. And yeah, that was terrifying. Now, Jordan says that this happens quite a bit, but it was the first and only time that I've seen that happen. Now, mind you, I'm not a regular at hospitals. I'm sure if I asked my mom to tell stories, because she works at the hospital, I'd probably hear some stories. But yeah, so I did not have the emergency operation. I had requested it several times, and they never gave it to me. And then eventually, I just found the saline spray, and 1 problem down, another 94 to go, including a bitch.
So with that, this is the world's stupidest fucking thing. We're at a tie. We all have 3 points.
Well, I have one more story for you guys to figure out.
Tiebreaker.
One more, and I cannot be the winner of this, so I will go ahead and tell this last story. We'll make this quick. Okay, this should be easy for you guys to figure out. I believe in you.
What was the scoring system, by the way? Because we get a point for guessing it, but were there any points distributed for successfully lying? No,
just going by whoever guessed the lie.
Okay, I'm fine with that. That's fine.
I just did a simple little. I just want to see. I was a background actor. I voice acted for Resident Evil. I'm afraid of the dark.
Not to call you out, but I know for a fact 3 is the truth.
You're like, this bitch is around lights all day. He's afraid of the dark.
I'm trusting that you're not doing a double play there, where you're saying that to. I believe it too. I don't think you voiced Resident Evil, and I know you mentioned you did background acting in the past. I know you mentioned that, so I got to go with number 2, Resident Evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember 1, and I know 3 because of content you talked about making.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with 2.
For one, I can't believe you remember that conversation. That's a video that's not gonna be released for a long ass time. It is number 2. I would have said let Charles come back, but we have to wrap this episode up. So yes, it's number 2. I obviously have been a background in several films. Now, grant you, there is only 1 film that came out that even exists, and it was done in Denham Springs, Louisiana. So have fun looking that up. It's from a small director. It's about a kid getting into drugs. It's funny because that was one of the main blocks we lived on. So we were in the background. We got to get put in the movie for a slight second. I was young, and I was about 3 feet tall. You cannot recognize me now. And I was far away, but I was a background in there. Resident Evil, I fucking wish, man. I wish. That would be amazing. And number 3, I am afraid of the dark, not because of it being dark, because what's in the dark, but that is a classification of afraid of the dark, is no one's just afraid of complete blackness. Well, I guess some people are, but
if you're out on one of those drilling piers out in the ocean, and it's nighttime, oh, I'm gonna be afraid of the fucking dark in that.
Yeah!
So it is about time and place.
100%. So that's why I'm like, you know what? That's actually 100% true. And I want to make a video. I talked about over a year ago about doing a video, and then every hour until I can beat this game. I'm alone at night with just my camera person, and every hour I have to do these tasks and challenges in the dark to help promote this game. And I have to go around, unlock this thing in the dark, do this in the dark, shoot a headshot in the dark. So I have to do like all these things in real life in the dark to help promote this one game that fucked me over so bad. And happy I didn't do the video. And yeah, that was supposed to be the whole entire thing, but I was like, dude, I'm kind of afraid because I'm going in a random spot in the middle of the night where there could be people wanting to put their cocks in me and bears that want me to be inside of them. So I'm just like, no, mountain lions that don't give a fuck. I'm like, I'm not doing this. No, I'm kind of afraid of the dark. I ain't doing that. So yeah, so I will. The winners is Funker and Joseph. You guys are the winners. Obviously, I couldn't really compete in this round, but I would have lost anyways because I would pick number 2 because I would really love to be in a Resident Evil game. Please add me. But besides that, guys, that's a podcast. And what's left of the podcast? We had some mess ups. Don't worry about it. That's what the podcast is. I'm thinking here's an idea. I'm thinking about making a tech channel called Mess Tech, where I'm just messing up tech or messing around with it and not doing what the professionals do. I'm going to call it Mess Tech. It's going to do no numbers, but I'm like, you know what? Just make it a sideshow, like, welcome to Mess Tech, where I will do it right, but you're questioning it every bit until I get there. But yeah, that's all we got. Anyone want to add anything else before we wrap the show up?
I wonder if you went with Alone in the Dark. I wonder if that would have made it more harder to.
That would have probably been much better if I just said I'm afraid to be alone in the dark. Because, yeah,
I'm still waiting for you to make that VOD channel so you can put those freaking VODs of freaking suffering through Halo 2 and Legendary on it.
Yeah. I gotta get back in the office first. We'll get there.
So
I'll make that.
I just want to say shout outs to Funker for pitching the idea for Two Truths and a Lie. This was fun. This is good. So does anybody have any idea for what game, activity, or anything we want to do for next time? I'm trying to figure this out, but I want to do something AI related. I want us to like either fuck with ChatGPT or Stable Diffusion and just do like an image generation or a text generation or something AI related. But I don't have that idea ready yet. But I will let you know when it's ready.
Yeah, be dope.
Yeah, let us know what we can do for a possible AI episode. You know, Apple's bullshit just came out, so we could ask, ChatGPT what she thinks about it. She's like, that bitch will die. Who knows? And also, we could talk about the Apple Vision Pro because I want to know if you can watch porn on like the phone.
And on that note, guys, just for all your listeners out there, we highly recommend Helldivers. Really great game. You're not going to be disappointed. It's definitely a game that if you're a gamer, which if you're not a gamer, I don't know what you're doing here, it's a great game to play. You have to get it. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
I'd recommend Palworld if you freaking don't fuck with any of the settings. You just hope the guy that doesn't crash like a million fucking times.
What are you showing?
Oh yeah, from Helldivers.
Oh, okay. Dude, I might play it. Say it right now. I might play it.
Good. Talk to me later about it.
Okay, I'll talk to you later about it. Goodbye, everybody.